I'm Josh. I'm standing here with John Perez of Solitude Aeturnus.
Hey.
This is for Rasputin's Beard blog, and I wanted to start out the interview with asking, what's the current state of Solitude Aeturnus?
Relatively active
Right.
for us, which tonight obviously we played this tribute show to Joe's Garage, which was very important. It's the first place we played a gig here in the local area, which was 22 years ago, and it's a long time. And our first gig was out of town actually, but our first gig here was at Joe's Garage. So it's really important to me for us to be able to play this, to give our respects to the place that not only gave us our first chance, but gave many other underground bands locally and nationally chances to play here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area before anybody else was doing it.
Spawned an entire scene.
Pretty much. I mean, it's not solely responsible. Joe's wasn't solely. There was other places doing underground metal before Joe's even.
Yeah.
But Joe's just became more of a center point, and the scene developed out of that. And nobody was booking like touring national acts, underground bands at least, like Death and Obituary and Sepultura before they were big.
Yeah.
But Ab took a chance, and it was actually Rick Perry that was helping him suggest some of the bands to book, because Ab didn't know metal. I mean, obviously, he was he owned the club and gave everybody a chance. But anyway, so with just veering off the question, because this was so important for me to play this, personally. But Solitude, yes, is very active. We did this show. We did a show about a month ago here, playing another local show, and then we're off to Romania to do a huge festival show in August, which is apparently some monster fest, 20,000 people, something like this.
Very cool.
And then we plan on doing another tour of Europe, probably in the fall, and another record. We're working on new material right now. Pretty much have most of the new songs done for a new record, but just taking our time because there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
So.
I was curious, like, what are the personal dynamics that allow you and Robert to continue your working relationship as long as you have?
Yeah.
And
Obviously for me, Solitude Aeturnus, you have to start kind of getting more general about your opinions about what you think is, what you think a band should be. I guess what I'm trying to get at is without Robert, there's no Solitude Aeturnus, because when you change vocalists, there's different dynamic again with bands. So Robert has been the vocalist with Solitude since the inception. Well, since our first album, we had a different vocalist originally. But so long as Robert is in the mix and I'm there, we will continue to do Solitude Aeturnus. We have new members in the band. Some of these members have been with us for 10 years, now.
Yeah.
So they're new, but they've been around for 10 years.
have come and gone and then come back again, right?
We had a very stable lineup for about 10, 11, 12 years, and that was great. I prided myself on that. But as years went on, various members left the band for various reasons, which are all valid reasons, And I just decided that, I was going to continue to write metal music.
Yeah.
And when I write metal music, it's going to be Solitude, because that's really how I write music, And all the other guys before contributed as well. So now I'm dealing with the dynamic of bringing in these other people to help with the songwriting. And of course, Robert's always there. So I think that the thing that we keep fresh in our heads, at least as far as me and Robert goes, since we're the only members that have been there since the beginning now with the first band, with the first album, is that we just try to keep it real. Which and what I mean by that is we try to keep it to where we're very conscious about what we're doing. We don't slack. We don't settle for second rate. We only settle for what we think is truly good. Doesn't have to be groundbreaking. Just has to be really good and a little different from the rest of the pack. And that's what keeps Robert and I's ideas about the band and what we should do with it. That's what keeps us going on that. It's just, we still feel like we have some, different ideas to offer,
Still a lot of vitality there. I appreciate that. The next question is over the doom scene in Texas. Your reaction in your home state compared to the rest of the United States?
Well, I'd say that there is absolutely no doom scene in Texas. Never has been.
Yeah.
Don't think there ever will be.
Yeah.
And that's just fine with me. I could really care less. There's good doom bands from here, obviously. Some of the older bands, of course, like Last Chapter, which we did on Brain Ticket, Las Cruces, also on Brain Ticket. I got all the bands from Texas that we're doing and put them on Brain Ticket, which was like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, obviously there's other Doom bands there too that are more a different style of Doom that's more the sludge Doom stuff. There's a ton of bands doing that these days. So I guess with regards to the question again, yes, there is a healthy Doom scene per se. If Doom means slow and heavy, there's a lot of slow and heavy bands these days.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see because, you know, when we first started, there were literally 0.
Yeah.
And it's good to know that there's more musicians out there just taking a slower approach to metal.
Yeah.
I mean, I love every kind of metal there is, but of course I'm more partial to slower stuff. I think the Doom scene, I wouldn't call it there a Doom scene in Texas at all.
Yeah.
But there are some good bands doing really heavy shit here in Texas right now. A lot of them. Ken of Ettins from here, great band. Orthodox Fuzz, I wouldn't call them Doom, but they're really fucking super heavy. I can't think of any more off the top of my head right now. But there are some great heavy doomy bands in Texas. I just don't think there's a big scene for it. It's not like it's popular.
Yeah, I was curious about, you know, attendance and all the things that go into that. You guys have a reputation, so you got the draw.
I think we've got a reputation for one reason, and I think it's because we're like a thorn in your side that never goes away. We've literally been around for 22 years now, and that's a long freaking time. And we haven't been active every year of those 22 years, mind you. But we've stuck at it. We've been around for 22 years, and after you've been around for so long, people can't help but notice you, you know? So you're gonna get noticed if you've been around that long. Whether or not they like you or not, it's not even relative. It's just, they're gonna, oh yeah, I've heard of that band.
Well, 22 years, things come and go, you know, but you're still here, man.
Still here, and only here for one reason. That's just because we just love this kind of music. I mean, we don't make any money from this, and really the only reason for us to do this is just because we still love this kind of music, you know? I mean, that's just all there is to it. It's plain and simple. I still love metal to the core, man. This is my favorite kind of metal to listen to and also to play as a musician, you know? So
you mentioned Brain Ticket earlier.
Yeah.
If you can elaborate on your label.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a label I started back in '95. The idea was just to put out music that I thought was great, that people needed to hear, which was, of course, mostly heavy stuff. So we're still around, and I'm really excited. The next release we're doing is retrospective on the Texas metal scene from the early to mid '80s. I think it's an important document, really, of the metal scene. I think anyone's a serious metalhead that wants to research where all this came from, this will give people a good idea of how the Texas metal scene was thriving in the early to mid '80s with a bunch of really talented bands that didn't do anything beyond demos. And so that's what we're doing. We're putting out a CD that's got all these bands that never went beyond the demo stage, but their demos were pretty decent quality, some of them not so decent quality, but the music and the vibe and the energy was there. So we're putting out this compilation called Texas Metal Archives Volume 1 on Brain Ticket Metal Rising Records. And we're just real excited about it, man, because it's really a history lesson for metal. And I think anybody that's into new metal, it's a real serious metal fan, is going to appreciate some of the older thrash, progressive, heavy, crazy fucking metal shit that we've gone on there. We've got all kinds of genres that are covered, and it covers bands from like '82 to '87, so it's all in that time period.
You're going to give a lot of bands exposure just with blogs and all kinds of stuff that the internet contribute to these bands.
Oh, totally, man. And the idea is to shed some light on some of these underground bands that literally created the scene within Texas. You know, in the early to mid '80s, the scenes were being created all over the United States, and Texas was no exception. And our scene was really vital and healthy and lots of talent. And some of these bands never went beyond just putting out demos and playing a bunch of live shows. And our idea is to shed some light on some of these great unsung heroes of the Texas metal movement of the early to mid '80s, because otherwise they're going to be forgotten eventually. And these bands were critical and crucial in forming what has become a international metal scene these days. So anyway, real excited about that, and I'm glad you asked me about Brain Tickets. So now I can sell 500 copies instead of 300 copies of it now for the exposure I'm getting on this.
Yeah, no problem, dude. Yeah, I'm more than happy to do that for you. And is there anything else you would like to say, maybe about Blabbermouth?
About Blabbermouth? Hey, Borvoy. No. Hey, did you really hate that Rotting Corpse demo? Okay, you did. Anyway.
I look forward to the new material, and good luck on your tours in Europe. Thanks for the interview, dude.
Absolutely.
John Perez,
Thank you, man.
Solitude Aeturnus.
All right.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's great, man. Thank you.
Yeah.